Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 212. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and working experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 DVDs a week. Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, the big exciting thing in Warhammer 40,000 is that there is a brand spankin' new faction. And Sean got that faction, and he lent me the Codex. So I get to know all about the new faction and what this is gonna bring to Warhammer 40,000. We haven't had, what was the last new faction for 40k? Genestealer Cult, Adeptus Mechanicus? Was it one of the Demon or one of the Chaos? Leagues of Votann! Leagues of Votann was the last new faction, and when I read that Codex, I like Leagues of Votann. They are very neat. They're suffering a little bit in 10th edition because their rule is kind of bad. It's grudge tokens. So at the start of the game, you assign a certain number of grudge tokens to enemy units, and that benefits your shooting. And then Games Workshop found out that that wasn't powerful enough. So now when you play Votann, basically all enemy units start with a grudge token. And they got a new Grossmist detachment that doesn't give out as many grudge tokens. And so that detachment is kind of dead on arrival because your units are points costed based on having grudge against everything else in the game. And when they don't, they're not very good. But their Codex is coming out sometime later this year, probably, maybe. So Leagues of Votann, and they don't have that many units, which is kind of an issue. Factions need a lot of units, especially when some things like orcs and Tyranids and Space Marines have a ridiculous number of units to pull from. So you can really cook those armies and get them really, really strong and singing. Some armies, like Emperor's Children, or not Emperor's Children, this is Emperor's Children, World Eaters are in a similar boat where they have a very small number of units. And so like you kind of have to bring Angron, and you gotta bring the 8-bound, you gotta bring Khorne Berserkers, and that's just kind of ends up being your entire army. And so I was a little worried that Emperor's Children would fall into the same boat, where there would be kind of one play style and you have to do it. There are 17 Emperor's Children units, not including the 5 demons that you can bring. And I think it's okay. I think that this is an okay faction for 40k. It's definitely forces your hand into a certain playstyle, but it's kind of the playstyle you would want. And that playstyle is charge as fast as you can and be in close combat the entire game. Tau players are gonna cry. It's gonna be bad if you're Tau. Some things might be able to handle it and deal with it, but it's very, very interesting. The army rule for Emperor's Children is Thrill Seekers. If your faction is Emperor's Children, your unit is able to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced, fell back. That's really, really good, but it does have some caveats. You can't charge the same thing that you started the turn in engagement range in. I feel like that's fair enough. That still gives you the rest of your opponent's army to charge into. And then the second bullet point, you cannot target a unit that was the target of another unit's charge this phase. That is gonna be a little bit trickier. So you have to make sure that you're doing your charges exactly how you should be, because you don't wanna accidentally move block Fulgrim from charging something because you already charged your Tormentors into it. You gotta make sure that you do things in exactly the right order. But if you're playing Emperor's Children, you are the greatest swordsman in the history of Warhammer 40,000, so maybe it's a little on you to make sure that your sword swings are getting exactly where they need to be, getting. Cracking into the brand spankin' new data sheets, we got a bunch of brand new models and units, and chief among them is the man, the myth, the snake, Fulgrim. Demon Primarch Fulgrim is back in the mortal realms. He is looking pretty with a movement of 16, toughness 11. 11 is gross. So Melta is gonna be bouncing off of him most of the time. A lot of really, really good anti-tank weapons are still gonna be able to punch through that, but with a 2-up save, 4-up invulnerable save, that's kinda nasty. 2-up save is whatever, you could deal with a 2-up save, but a 4-up invuln means 50% of the time, your shots are gonna bounce. Now, that's a 50-50. So sometimes he's gonna roll really, really well and just stick around and be unkillable. And sometimes he's gonna be crying because those shots are just gonna be slipping through turn after turn. But with a 4-up invulnerable save, it's just rude, is a 4-up invulnerable save with 16 wounds. Objective control, 6. He's really, really big, but his objective control is only 6. So, you know, if you got like a 10 brick of guardsmen in there, he's got to kill almost every single one of them in order to steal objectives from people. His objective control could be a little bit higher, and as far as I can tell, there isn't a lot of ways in this book to bump that up. He can't lead anything. I was thinking he might be able to lead Faultless Blades, but he cannot lead Faultless Blades. He is a lone snake by himself, but he's really, really good. Like, he's really, really good. He's got 2 abilities, Demonic Poison. Demonic Poison is really, really interesting. If he fights something, that something is poisoned for the rest of the game. There's no way to turn it off. And in the start of each player's command phase, they roll a dice, and if they roll a 4 up, then they take D3 mortal wounds. That is gross. Like, it's just gonna happen. It's not like fire or some effects that you see in other games where, like, you know, you might happen, it might not. The fire might go out, it might not. No, you're just gonna be taking damage all game long. And his other ability is one that you get to pick. If anyone has played with Grimaldus of the Black Templars, you're very familiar with these, but he gets to pick between -1 to be hit, really, really good, especially for Fulgrim, where he's a big model that's gonna be taking shots all game long. Demonic Speed, fights first, also redonkulously good, and Enthralling Hypnosis. Units within 6 inches of him, or units in engagement range of him, have to roll to see if they're allowed to fall back or not. And if they fail their leadership check, then they're not allowed to fall back. That can be really, really clutch, but I don't think it's gonna be like the one that you have to take. I think it's gonna be a really, really hard toss-up between fights first and -1 to be hit. Like, Fulgrim is nasty. I was hoping upon reading this book that you don't have to take Fulgrim, and you don't have to take Fulgrim, but I do think with a bunch of the detachments, you're gonna want to be taking Fulgrim, and you're gonna miss him when you don't take him in your army lists. Moving on to Lucius. Lucius is a very interesting character. He is really good in close combat. He kind of has like he has a strike and a sweep profile, but it's technically 2 different weapons. He can't use both of those weapons because none of them have the extra attacks keyword, so he's just kind of a beast in close combat, although he has a special ability where if you do run him completely solo, he gets a little bit of benefit. But you probably want to run him with the Faultless Blades because he is the only thing in this book that can attach to the Faultless Blades, which is weird. Like, usually that's not how it is. Usually, like, your big, cool, like, Inner Circle Companions or Blade Guard Veteran, if you're Black Templar, like, your generic beater close combat unit can be attached to a bunch of different stuff depending on what role you want them to fill in your army. Faultless Blades, only Fulgrim can attach to them. And then it becomes a little bit awkward because you can't take a lot of enhancements because he is a named character and you can't take enhancements on named characters. So Lucius is interesting. I expected him to have some kind of if you kill him, he comes back to life, but he doesn't. He's just Fulgrim. He's just out there grinning. The other brand spanking new data sheets in this book, the Lord Exultant, classic Chaos Lord, but can only be attached to your Tactical Marines. He can only be attached to your Tormentors and your Infractors, your Bolter Boys and your Stabby Boys. He's good. He's pretty darn good. He grants lethal hits, which is a big bonus, and he can do a little bit of extra fighting. He once per game can have 3 to his attack characteristic. Sure, that's something. He's not bad in close combat, and he's just a classic Chaos Lord that can attach to very many things. A slightly more interesting guy is the Lord Cacophonist. This is the character meant to attach to your Noise Marines, and he's just a fun-loving guy. He comes with a noise pistol, which is really, really good, but only 12-inch range. And then it becomes the dance of, do you take the second pistol for the 3 extra shots, or do you keep a power fist on his hip so that he's a little something in close combat? I want to give him the extra pistol because I just love the idea of him akimbo pistoling attached to a big blob of Noise Marines. That would be pretty rad. But you're probably gonna want to charge things and have a little bit of close combat threat, so you're probably gonna give him the power sword. It doesn't feel as much fun though as 2 pistols. I don't know, he's kind of fun. He gives sustain hits 1, which is really good on the crazy number of shots that Noise Marines throw out. And he's got the Doom Siren. He can do just a little bit of mortal wounds. He can do D3 mortal wounds. He's he's okay. He'll fit nicely again with a squad of Noise Marines. Then after that, you got a Chaos Sorcerer. Who cares? It's a Chaos Sorcerer. He's fine. He's nothing to write home about. You might take him a few times in your army lists because he's a really cheap way of attaching the enhancements to a unit, but I don't know. He can be attached to Infractors, Noise Marines, and Tormentors, not the Flawless Blades, which is very sad. But speaking of those Flawless Blades, these guys are like the newest of the new things for the Emperor's Children. Nothing like them has existed. I think they do exist in 30K, but I think these guys are very different from those 30K guys. It's 3 big fellas with big ol' swords that are strength 6, AP -3, damage 2. They are a blender of a unit, and they have one of the weirdest rules that I've read. So they can, before they make their fights, they can decide to make a Dark Pact. And if they do make a Dark Pact, they are wounding on 3s. Regardless of what's happening, they're wounding on 3s. That is shockingly powerful. But the caveat is, if they don't kill a model, then one guy dies. One guy drops dead. Really, really weird, because their weapons are strength 6. So they're wounding Space Marines, Ogryn, Kroot, Rampagers, basically every infantry style thing in the game they're wounding on 3s already. So you wouldn't want to pop this unless you're going up against something weird and wacky, like a Leman Russ or a Rogel Dorn or like some big giant meaty thing, but you're not likely to just one-shot that big meaty thing. So you're probably gonna lose a guy, but at first I'm like, okay, this rule makes no sense. But then this rule started to make perfect sense because this is Emperor's Children. This is a rule where like, don't do it. Definitely do it, but don't do it. It's gonna be a really, really fun little trade-off of, this tank is causing me a lot of problems. I don't have a lot of anti-tank in my army. Do I just pop this and pray to the dark gods that I kill this Leman Russ? Because if I don't, one of my guys drops dead. And with AP -3, like hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, anything in the game, that's like 14 damage that you're just throwing out there. It's tricky. I like the Faultless Blades a lot. They're a weird, wacky unit. Your Emperor's Children, you're gonna bring a bunch of these guys, probably attached to Lucius. It's weird. I like that special ability a lot. It's funky. Also in Emperor's Children, you got some Demon Princes. Demon Princes are classic. They're a little weird right now in that they don't have a great utility. Their utility is their distraction Carnifexes. They don't, they're not gonna be wiping Space Marine units, but they're gonna do a good job against Space Marine units. They can like wipe Guardsmen, but anything can wipe Guardsmen. The one with wings is a little bit more tempting just because you got the extra movement. I think Demon Prince is good. It's fine. And you got Chaos Spawn. I like Chaos Spawn, but you're probably not gonna bring Chaos Spawn. Tormentors and Infractors, your basic boys. These guys are great. I really like, they're essentially Chaos Legionaries, but broken into 2 different data sheets. So you got your Bolter Boys and your Blade Boys. The Bolter Boys aren't super exciting, but they do have sticky objectives. So you're probably gonna bring at least 1 squad of 5 in your army to sticky your home field and then just, I don't know, hang out for the rest of the game. Your Infractors are where things get spicy. Regular old Space Marine boys with 4 close combat attacks at AP -1 apiece. They can be attached to the Chaos Lord. They have excessive assault, where they can reroll wound rolls of 1, or if they're standing on objectives, then they can reroll the entire wound roll. These guys are nice, and I could see most Emperor's Children armies having a couple big blobs of 10 of these suckers. They're your Khorne Berserkers. They're not quite as good as a Khorne Berserker, but they're still, they're just Space Marines, but they can hit well above their weight class. And all of their weapons have precision, which is bizarre. It's like, why would I want to throw all of my blades into the hero and just kill the hero and leave the entire rest of the squad untouched? You might want to do that when we get to some of the detachments, but having precision on all of their weapons is funny and also great. Then you got Chaos Terminators. Terminators are classic, they're very good. Nothing in the book can attach to them, so you can't really juice them much. So you just have to decide if you want Terminators or not. And then you got, for transports, you got your Chaos Land Raider. This is the only thing that can transport the Faultless Blades or the Terminators. Land Raider is pretty epic, and their Land Raider is slightly different. It's got assault ramps, so if you jump out of it, you can still are eligible to charge. That is classic Land Raider, pretty darn good. Land Raiders are big and Land Raiders are expensive. They're a little bit hard to play with because they're so physically big, but if you want to be transporting your guys, probably going to do it in the Land Raider. Also, the Land Raider has las cannons, one of your very few options for anti-tank. Moving on to another brand new thing, the Noise Marines. I was really excited to read this data sheet because Noise Marines are the thing of Emperor's Children, and they're quite a thing. 6 models in the unit. I really like that. It's not 5 or 10, it's 6. That's really funky, but I like it a lot. And they get to throw out a hilarious number of Strength 5, AP-1, Damage 2 shots. They're not bad. Close range, so you're probably gonna want to use like some infractors to shield them from getting charged, but they're not bad. The only thing bad about them is their special ability. Not only, like, their special ability is you do battle shock checks, but it's not even that, because it doesn't force a battle shock check. It is the next time the thing that you shot has to make a battle shock check, it's -1. So they might not even have to do a battle shock check. It's pretty bad. It's a pretty nothing rule. I'm surprised it's so nothing, but their guns are good and they can attach to a Lord Cacophonous, so they're gonna be just fine. Helldrake is way too expensive, although this Helldrake is a little bit better than the Chaos Space Marine Helldrake. Mauler Fiend. Emperor's Children players, I hope you're excited for Mauler Fiends because you're gonna bring in at least 2 of these suckers. This is your anti-tank. Close combat, they have 6 attacks, hitting on Strength 14, AP-2, Damage D6 +1. This is the way that you're gonna have to kill tanks. I'm sorry to say, Emperor's Children, but you get to do it in close combat, and if you manage to finish off those tanks, then Mauler Fiend is also really good into like Space Marine equivalent or kind of anything. And their ability is really good. Glutton for Punishment. If you're below your starting strength, you get +1 to hit. So if you take 1 wound, you're +1 you're hitting on 2s for the rest of the game. And if you're below half, you add 1 to the wound roll as well. So really, really good. You need to warn your opponents. Like if you're fighting against Tau and they're like, okay, I'm gonna shoot you to take off like 2 damage and to like target you for the rest of my army. Well, are you sure you want to do that? Because then my Mauler Fiend gets juiced for the rest of the game. Mauler Fiends are looking really, really pretty. And then we got the classic Rhino. You'll probably take a Rhino. That is it. That is all of the Emperor's Children units. After that, there is 5 demon units that you can bring in one singular detachment. Shalaxi is definitely the head honcho of this crew. Shalaxi is really, really good. Her Melta-Spear is insane. It's another good option for anti-tank that's in this book. Keeper of Secrets is just like good and fine. And then you get your 3 flavors of demonettes. You get classic, you get fiends, and you get seekers. There's not a huge difference between the fiends and the seekers. The fiends are fewer models with a lot of wounds, and the seekers are more models with fewer wounds. But other than that, they're pretty samey-same. And demonettes are fun, but they're kind of wimpy, so they're gonna die pretty often. I don't know. The demons are interesting, and actually their detachment looks really, really fun. And speaking of fun looking detachments, let's flip on over to the detachments, because this is how you run the army. The first detachment, Mercurial Host. No one cares. It's a fine detachment. It's a little oppressive. It is re-roll advance rolls, and you're already charging after you advance for Emperor's Children. So if you want to absolutely be in your opponent's face turn 1, this might be the detachment to do it in, but it just makes your movement better. Like that, all of the stratagems, all of the enhancements, it's just automatically teleport yourself into your opponent's backline. It's kind of boring to me. It doesn't feel very exciting. Flipping the page over to Peerless Bladesman, though, this is where things get spicy. Exquisite swordsmanship. Right before any of your Emperor's Children units fight, they can pick if they want lethal or sustained hits 1. That is nice. And it really, really shows just how good a swordsman they are, because they can always make sure that they have the best possible buff in the best possible moment. I love that ability. Their enhancements are glorious. So with 1 enhancement, you can have free heroic intervention. Amazing. With 1 enhancement, you can have a once per game fights first. Again, amazing. With distortion, you can give one character +1 attack and +1 damage. This would be hilarious to throw on a demon prince so that you could have flat damage 4. I don't know when that would ever come in handy, but it's really funny that you can do it. And for Rise to the Challenge, you can fight again, and it's decided at the end of the turn. So if your Faultless Blades led, or not Faultless Blades led by Fulgrim, because he's a named character, but if maybe some Infractors led by something else, if you didn't manage to wipe the squad, you get a second try and you just get to fight again. They have some really, really good stratagems that you're going to want to use every single turn. You got Death Ecstasy, which is a fight on death, but it is literally just a fight on death. You get to fight once your unit is killed. That's really, really good. Most other factions in the game get a fight on death. That's like a 50-50 if it happens or not. This just happens. It's a poor man's fight first because you're fighting second, but technically you got to fight at all, which is really, really nice. And this would be a hilarious one to pop on your big boys right before they're about to die, like your Mauler Fiends or your Fulgrims. Like if you're like, oh no, he's gonna die this turn before he gets to punch. He doesn't. He gets to punch. And Cruel Bladesman, +1 AP, just all around super, super solid, and it could come in clutch on your Mauler Fiends to make them AP -3, which is so unbelievably better than AP -2. Moving on to Rapid Evisceration. I call this detachment, I own 2 Land Raiders. Because guess what you're gonna be bringing with this detachment? 2 Land Raiders. This detachment is all about jumping out of transports, and guess what? Your transport is a Land Raider. But there is a sneaky little thing you can do with a Rhino. With the enhancement Sublime Prescience, you can target one transport that is in your strategic reserve, and you can bring it onto the board, treating the turn as 1 higher than it really is. So if in turn 2, you can bring a Rhino onto the battlefield in your opponent's deployment zone, and then you can poop out your guys, because the Rhino has to be 9 inches away, but then you can poop your guys out 3 inches. And then you're like, well, you made a normal move though, so you don't get charged with those guys. Well, then you do Ceaseless Onslaught, and all of a sudden, those units are eligible to charge, so you can do a turn 1 Rhino drop backfield charge. It's kind of fun. I think this detachment, it might be the worst one, I don't know, but I really like the look of this detachment. I think it looks like a ton of fun. And if you get out of a transport, you get to reroll a wound roll of 1 and a hit roll of 1. Not bad. Moving on to Carnival of Excess. This is the Demon detachment. You can bring up to 1,000 points of demons, and you're probably gonna bring 1,000 points of demons. Because number 1, you're gonna bring Shalaxi. You're bringing Shalaxi. She is your anti-tank beat stick, and it's a really, really fun detachment with a lot of really good movement shenanigans. You want your demons and your Emperor's Children to be within 6 inches of each other at all times. So you're just kind of mix up your squads and make sure that everybody is pretty close by, because they empower one another. And so your weapons gain sustained hits. And unmodified hit rolls of 5 and 6 are criticals, which is really, really spicy. And you get some really, really fun stratagems. The Ecstatic Slaughter is a really weird one, where if one of your Slaanesh units kills something, they can pick an Emperor's Children unit that is within 6 inches, and they can give it a charge that just happens immediately, which is really bizarre. But you could Shalaxi, if she's in the way, because it's on such a big base, you could have her charge and fight and get out of the way. And then once it's killed something, you can slingshot a Mauler Fiend into close combat, which is hilarious. And weirdly powerful and interesting. I really like this detachment. I think it looks like a ton of fun. Also, Demonettes can have Uppy Downy for 1 CP. Oh god, it's 2 CP? Never mind, Demonettes do not get Uppy Downy. Moving on to Coterie of the Conceited. This one is the classic Emperor's Children one that they showed off on Warhammer Community. I actually think it might not be the most powerful one, but it is really interesting. So every turn, you have to guesstimate how many things you're gonna kill, and if you were correct, then you get points based on how correct you were. And so you start to build up pact points, and those give your army benefits. Your first pact point, you get to reroll hit rolls of 1. Your third pact point, you get to reroll wound rolls of 1. And then if you kill 5 things, you get lethal and sustained hits 1. Really, really good. Then you have to kill 7 things, and I feel like if you've killed 7 things, your opponent's killed 7 things, you don't worry about the last one, but reroll hit rolls of 1, wound rolls of 1, and sustained hits, lethal hits is on everything. It is really, really good. This detachment also has a really good stratagem in Embrace. Embrace the pain. You can force your opponent to fight the thing that you want them to fight, which is really, really good if you're going into other like combat-focused armies, or if they have fights first. You know, if you've got a big slot of Khorne Berserkers with fights first, and they really want to go into your Flawless Blades, like they just will wipe them. But then you can just be like, hey, guess what? There's also this Infractor squad in combat with us. You have to fight the Infractor squad. And they do. Or if you just have like a dumb character or demon prince in there, you can make them fight that. And then it kind of gives you fights first against the fights first in a weird way. It's a very, very interesting and powerful little rule. This detachment is really, really interesting, but flipping over to Slaanesh's Chosen. This one is hilarious. I feel like this might be the worst detachment. This is the one where you have a bunch of characters and they're all vying for Slaanesh's favor. And so every time a character unit kills something, they become empowered. And when they're empowered, they're incredibly powerful. They reroll wounds, but they get to do that until another character unit manages to kill something, which is really unhelpful because you become better after you've killed something. And that better status can be taken away if something else kills something without the benefit. It's really, really annoying, but this detachment becomes really, really funny when you read it as just take Fulgrim and nothing else. Because Fulgrim will automatically be the champion because he's the warlord. And so you just get Fulgrim with reroll wounds all game long. And with a surge move in Vengeful Surge. So Fulgrim rerolling wounds with a surge move in the opponent's turn might be the best way to run Fulgrim. It'll make him incredibly powerful, and you'll be ignoring everything else. You can boil this 2-page spread down into 2 sentences. Fulgrim just wins. That's how I read this detachment. I don't know. It would be so annoying to play it the correct way. And what if a character what if your Lord Cacophonous manages to kill something? It'll be nice that he can reroll wounds, but what if like Fulgrim is the thing that you want to activate next, and all of a sudden Fulgrim is just going to steal it from you? It's just really, really a frustrating detachment, unless you run it as Fulgrim gets to reroll all wounds. Those are the detachments. I feel like, to me personally, the Rhino or the Land Raider one is the most interesting. But if I was running Emperor's Children today, I would just take the one that makes Fulgrim reroll wounds, because it would be mean to just let Fulgrim reroll wounds all game long. It would be absolutely hilarious. But man, this is an interesting book. I would say this book is almost as interesting as EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find our merch, like our Nick and Jay dice, and is the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members get a credit that they can use on our new monthly terrain packs or any previous pack we have ever made. This April, we're going hard into skirmish fantasy warfare with 3 themes. The Mythical Forest, a set of fantastical trees held aloft by otherworldly levitating stones and waterfalls with the power of life. The Eternal Graveyard, a desolate shrine to the forces of death, macabre headstones piled against the last remnants of a long-forgotten cemetery. And the Cannibal Camp, a ramshackle encampment where the marauders can divide up their spoils and cook up their victims. These sets are designed with storytelling in mind and are the right size and shape for all the popular fantasy games. You can match the theme of your army, making your beloved collection look good while dominating the battlefield, and these sets are available on our website as STLs, but don't worry if you don't have a 3D printer, they are available physically printed for you. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of The Emperor's Children? I'm really excited to play into Emperor's Children. Sean is gonna be running these puppies, so I'll have to deal with that, but I don't know, they seem kind of interesting. They seem like maybe just less scary world eaters. The Flawless Blades, Fulgrim, I'm gonna be seeing a lot of Fulgrim in the near future, and I'm not looking forward to that. But if he brings the detachment where Fulgrim just gets to reroll wounds, I won't even be mad. It's just too funny not to. Thanks for watching.